One night at the shed, the engines were all talking at once, which kept Edward awake. Did you guys just be quiet and go to sleep? He asked. The other engines weren't amused. Well, Edward, if you don't like it here, why not go back to your shed and sleep with Lucy Van Pelt? I can't. My driver and fireman have already left, said Edward, and he tried to fall asleep. The next day, Edward's driver and fireman came to see him. Today, guess what, Edward? Today we'll be taking some cars to the works, and then we'll be pulling a passenger train. Edward was pleased, but James wasn't happy. I should be the one pulling coaches, not the old fart. Well then, I guess you won't mind shunting coaches. Edward blew his whistle and puffed away. He covered up with the trucks, and then he set off. The trucks liked playing jokes on Edward, like bumping him, for example. Steady, Edward, told the driver. Soon they approached the bridge. The silly trucks, banking their buffers hard, they bumped against Edward's tender, causing a huge accident. The last trucks remained intact. The first two trucks went off into the distance, and Edward's tender was almost destroyed in the crash. Edward's driver and fireman were okay, but Edward wasn't. He was badly damaged. Soon Duck arrived, but because they were already by the works, Duck shunted Edward next to the buffers. Hope you get better soon, said Duck. I hope so too, said Edward. Later in the shed, James couldn't stop talking about pulling Edward's train the next morning. The other engines weren't happy. The next morning, James puffed cheerfully out of the shed to collect his coaches. Then Jimmy arrived to tell James some news. James, there's a storm coming, and you'll have to go through some routes. You'll have to go through some different routes to get to the station. Bother! Groaned James, and he puffed slowly away. The weather had indeed changed while James was pulling his train. James was tired, cold, wet, and muddy. This weather is so infuriating. What did I do to deserve this? But things were about to get worse as he entered the countryside. James was well and truly stuck in the mud. His driver went to call for help. When Sir Robert got the call, he checked his timetables. Edward is the nearest engine. Meanwhile, Edward was as good as new, and he puffed away to go help James. Don't worry, said Edward. We'll have you out of that mud. First, Edward hauled the coaches back on the rails and out of the way and put them in a siding. Next, James's driver attached strong poles between James's tender coupling and Edward's coupling. Puffing hard, Edward managed to pull James back on the rails, and together they pulled the train back to the station.